Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing's PCF. That's Project Cars Fridays, round 6 at Watkins Glen. It's going to be an interesting race for the drivers here. I'm Front Row Racing DP and I'm joined in the commentary box for the second time today by Front Row Racing RI, or as I'm going to probably start calling you on here, Ray, Front Row Racing Re.
Hello.
Hello.
I think I should ask for a pay rise.
So do I, for the both of us. Okay, I'm just going to quickly disconnect my internet from the computer again. We've had a little bit of a break from doing the Front Row Racing FRRI Days event on F1, which was quite an interesting session really, but it's now time for Project Cars. So when the drivers are ready, we'll get going. Kev 187 and Dave the Harp had very disappointing events last week, with Kev having wheel issues just before the start of the race and not actually starting the race, and Dave the Harp losing a rear wheel at turn 1 at Donington Park. So Watkins Glen, I've just remembered as well, I haven't actually got myself a track map. There's not a lot of corners here, but as you found out, Ray, when you went for a little test drive around this track earlier, the corners aren't easy ones, are they?
No, turn 1, it's a bit bumpy in there, and then that chicane, it comes quicker than you think.
Oh yeah, it does come quicker than you think. It's like a lot of teenage boys and probably old men as well. If only women were the same way, life would be so much easier for us blokes, wouldn't it? Right, okay, now you're done, love, I'm off to the pub. Okay, right, I'm going to quickly click on drive, but then get back to the pit box so we can watch on the monitor. Now for the PCF here at Watkins Glen, we are looking at a very blurry image of a few caravans there. We are looking at a 15-minute qualifying session, then a 5-minute warm-up session for the drivers to get their pit strategies sorted out, and then a 26 lap around this circuit. But as we can see here, there's a few barriers around the edge of this track, and I think by the end of the race there's going to be a few dead cars and a few tyres left around the edge of this track. As Ray mentioned, this chicane, it's on screen now, it does approach you very fast, but at the same time you can go through it very fast as well. Now while the drivers get started on their out laps, their warm-up laps, we'll just have a, well, I would say quick look, but you won't be able to see. We'll have a quick read through the current standings. After last week's race with Kevin Dave the Harp not making it to the end, that has promoted Neotig Jr. up to first place in the standings on 64 points. He finished third in the race, but it was enough to get him up onto the top step. Dave the Harp is in second on 63 points. He, as I mentioned, didn't finish the race at Donington Park, a track both Kev and Dave do like, but anyway, there we go. So yeah, Dave Harp in second place on 63 points. Grable 79 on 60 points. He too didn't make it to the end of the race. He didn't make it to the start of the race, but there we go. Kev 187 on 51 points. Mulrine on 46 points. Jason, last week's winner, on 38 points, followed by Duo Finn, who's not been able to make the last couple of races and not making this one either due to prior commitments, playing hockey over in Finland. Well, I say over in Finland, for him it's in Finland because that's where he's from. GT5 King on 30 points. M1989 Woolhouse on 27 points. Bartman on 16 points. My Bad on 11. Richie Davies got 11. Jamie James has got none, and Stringy B has got none. But we've also got Hesselden, who's on the screen now. Some of you may know him from our PCS league, and he's asked if there was room, whether he could have an invite tonight, and there is room, so yes, he can have an invite tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the Formula Bs compared to the Ginetta Juniors. And considering that you've been driving both of them, Ray, how do you think he'll get on?
Is that Hesselden? He should go on okay. He seems to grasp the car quite well. I reckon he'll be mid-pack.
I'd be tempted to agree with you there. Well, you never. He may go and win it. We've obviously got Stringy B in as well. Obviously, he's taken part in our FRRI Days event on F1 earlier this evening. So he's now got to make that transition from F1 2015 into the Formula Bs, and he's now making a transition into the Arm Cove barrier. He's still going, but he's got a car right up his trumpet, and I think that may actually be Hesselden. I think he's just finished a lap, but that contact with the barrier has invalidated his lap, so back into the pits he goes and out again.
King hit the barrier.
Oh dear. M. Woolhouse has pole position at the moment with a 129.7. Hesselden's in second with a 131. Richie Davies just sat in the pits. He's probably working on his pit strategy after last week's calamity. Kev 187. I would say he's taking it calm and collected and just biding his time, waiting for the track to get warm. But in actual fact, I know he's filling his face, eating his dinner at the moment. But to be fair to the lad, he has been working 11-hour days. He's absolutely exhausted. So let's hope he can keep it out of the barriers here today. GT5 King, as you mentioned, was in the wall. At the moment, still back out on track, or has come back out on track. You can tell by the nose of that car it has seen a barrier, and he's not far off going to visit another one. I've got a feeling GT5 King may be one of the drivers that leaves a wheel around the circuit here, but then, as we know, Ray, from the previous 5 races in these cars, any one of the drivers has the potential to leave a wheel on the edge of the track, don't they? And it's not because they're bad drivers, it's because these cars are twitchy little beasts. You get on the wrong curb at the wrong time with the wrong amount of throttle, you're going towards the wall.
Yep, and I found that out. I done 3 laps, and I came in with damage and made 3 laps as well.
Exactly. Now, I've avoided doing a bit of a warm-up in these cars, partially because of that reason, but I have realised I need to take pictures for the next few rounds for the next week ahead posts on our Facebook page. So yeah, I'll probably be crashing a few of these later on while I try and get myself up to date on those pictures. Hesselden moved himself up to pole position, but he's just leaving the pits now. And obviously, these cars around this track, it takes a little bit of time to get the tyre temperatures up, but also the track temperature, and also... Oh, someone's in the barrier!
That was Mulray.
I can't see him. I think we've lost someone as well, Ray. We're down to 12 drivers. No, I mean, there's only 12 drivers in the lobby at the moment. It does look like it's Mulrine. He's not on the list, so he may want another invite in if you could do that for us as we try and have a look at who's doing what on track. Neotig Jr. will keep an eye on at the moment, currently in 3rd place as a green car goes wide. I think that's the green car of GT5 King. And he gets out of the way to let Neotig by. Neo's just been dropped down to 4th place by Grable, I think, who's just on a 130.0. But yeah, I was mentioning that these cars, in qualifying, the laps can potentially just get quicker and quicker and quicker. As the track gets rubbered in, the temperatures come up, the drivers get a bit more used to it. So we could see the lap times drop quite rapidly. Jason is also out on track at the moment, last week's winner. Hopefully he'll be on for another good session. Neo's ran a little bit wide, don't get that power down. It was a very close battle for the top 3 last week. Neotig, Mulrine, I think it was, and Jason, it was, battling it out for the lead of the race on the final laps. And Neo went for an overtake, couldn't quite get it to work, but still managed to keep 3rd place. And at the moment is in 3rd place with a 129.9, so only just ahead of Grable. And Grable, I mean, he had a very interesting Project Car Sundays race last week. A bit of lag going on, and he got absolutely smashed up into the air on 2 occasions. So hopefully he can have a much cleaner event here. Now, have we got any of the top protagonists out on track at the moment? Jason just crossing the line, still in 6th place, but improves his lap to a 130.5. Dave the Harp is on a 131.8. Now, he had been doing well, winning a few of the Project Cars races, but recently he's not had that luck. So a bit of a dip for him. He's gone from leading both standings and I think now to not leading both standings. But then you did have something to do with that on Sunday, didn't you, Ray?
Is he not still leading? No, who's leading the Project Car Sunday then?
I don't know, I can't remember. I might have just made that up. Should we have a look? See if I can find the image on the old computer. Oh no, I'm wrong. You know what? Dave the Harp is leading the Project Cars Sunday standings by 5 points. Come on. Yeah, come on, Ray. What are you playing about? Well, I say if you win the next one and he comes second, you're going to beat him at the very end. Beat him at the very end. Oh, GT5 King's off. He's off. He's still got all wheels on the car, but he is off the track as Jason comes past him. Richie Davey is now on the circuit. I'm not sure if it's an out lap or a hot lap. I've just heard the sound of a car hitting barrier. I'm not sure who that was, but Richie Davey getting himself set to post a lap time. Oh, big sideways moment there for him. Manages to keep it away from the walls though, but that was, oh, not on that occasion though. That's into the barrier. Oh, that's got damage on that car now. By the way, that's weaving. That's going to need taking back to the pit lane and start over for another lap. As per usual though, the drivers are going to have to be aware. Oh, Kev 187's had a bit of a moment. But as I'm sure all us gamers know, you eat a dinner and then try racing, you have that kind of lazy, lackadaisy feeling. So Kevin 87 needs to get himself re-warmed up. Well, let's see if we've got anything happening out in front. Neotig Jr. has gone and taken pole position. We didn't see the lap, but he's on a 127.8. And Hesselden's in second on a 127.8. There is only a 100th between them, are so close there. But Hesselden is now back out on track. Woolhouse in third place on a 129.7, having a moment. Oh, that's into the barrier. That's a rear wheel gone. And back to the pit lanes for him. Oh, I thought he was going to have a crash in the pit lane there. I think that may have just surprised Kev. I think it was in the pits. Yes, it was. So these two then need to get a shift on. Oh, and Kev, that's a very interesting parking place there. I'm fairly sure you are one of the better drivers. That must have been a very, very good dinner to end up in the barrier there like that. And there we see Richie Davey heading off again, getting ready to attack for one more try. Now, as per usual, we've mentioned in Project Cars before, what have the drivers got to do before the end of qualifying, right? Put you on the spot there now, haven't I? Can you remember?
Yeah. No, I can't remember.
Oh, we've got a wheel missing. It's not Dave the Harp. I just saw somebody in the barrier with the wheel flying. I'm not sure who it was. I think it may have been Dave the Harp. I don't know for certain. But yeah, what the drivers need to do is they need to make sure they cross the line with enough time to finish their lap. Because if they cross the line, even if there's a minute and 26.8 seconds left, as soon as the timer runs to 0 in the top right corner, that is it, session over. You do not get to finish your lap, so the drivers need to make sure that they have enough time to get their final laps in. Neotig still leading pole position. It'd be fantastic if he could take pole here. At the moment though, Kev seems to be struggling to get a lap in. Neo is back into the pit, so he may have enough time to get one more in, but he'll have to get a move on. Basically, if they leave the pits with anything less than 3 minutes remaining, they're not going to make it. So Hesselden then in for his first Formula B race, and he's currently sat in second place.
I proved it wrong there.
Yeah. Grable's in third, but sat in the pits. And we've got Woolhouse and I think that's Dave the Harp who are pushing to try and get round to start their laps. Either that or Woolhouse is on a lap. He's all over the back of that car ahead. I wonder if that's the pit entry there. It could be the pit entry there. Either that or that car has just gone flying off completely the wrong way. I don't know if there was contact or what. I don't know, but there we go. So Woolhouse then, he did seem to be going quite quick at that moment in time. I'll have a quick look at the timing screen. And we haven't...
Hesselden hit the barrier, but how he never managed to get damage, I don't know. Right at the chicane, the entry to turn the first part of the chicane, he hit the barrier on the right hand side. Oh, he's hit the barrier again.
I tell you what, we're going to have to watch Kev 187 because he's just put in a sector 1 time that's about a second faster than anybody else, but I'm wondering if he's had a bit of a problem because we're not actually seeing him. He's not approaching the camera. He's gone off of the chicane you were talking about, Ray. That is quite a tricky one that comes up out of nowhere. So Kev was on. I mean, he was a 25.3 in sector 1. But it's just going to cost him. It looks like Kev's going to end up starting this race from the back of the grid. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
And he's not got enough time to do another lap. Was that 127?
It's 127 at the moment for pole position. Richie Davies crossed the line with 130 something to go. Currently on a 134.5 for his lap time though. So it looks like we're going to have Richie Davies and Kev 187 starting at the back. Unless Richie can get a much better lap in here. Interesting.
Oh, it's a wee bit wide there. Well, what I seen when I looked up. I was watching the live stream as well.
Richie's gone very aggressive through the double chicane. He needs to try and find some time. He probably knows he's being watched as well. No pressure, Richie. I do like the left-hand corner that goes down the hill. It's a tricky one. It's easy to end up in the barrier, but at the same time you can carry the speed, and then the nicely cambered, but again easy to carry too much speed into it. Up over the hill and far away. Is Richie going to improve on his lap time? Oh, perhaps ran a little bit wide there. 20 seconds left to go to get to the finish line. It'll be close. If he does a 134, he's not going to actually get to finish the lap. If he can get into the 120s, he will get to finish the lap. It'll be a case of what position he's going to be in as he approaches the final corner with 6 seconds to go. It's going to be close to the finish line. Is he actually going to make it? He does. He improves, but it's only 8th place. So here's our grid order then. Neotig pole position, Hesselden 90 in second, Grable 79 in third, Woolhouse in fourth, Jason in fifth, Dave the Harp in sixth, Stringy B in seventh, Richie Davey 8th, GT5 King 9th and Kevin 10th. Well, that was a session that I didn't expect to particularly go that way, to be honest. I was not expecting that at all. Now, obviously for Kev, he won't be happy starting down in 10th place, but I'm sure we all know he's got the speed. Oh, and he's got a wheel missing off the barrier. I'm wondering if he's having wheel problems like he was having last week. Hopefully not. It's the last thing you want when you're getting ready to start a race. Oh dear. Now this is a time when we usually mention it. This is the time for the drivers to make sure that their pit strategies are set, their pit strategies are ready to go, so that when they enter the pits, all they have to do is press close. Oh, Richie has lost a wheel, and it's the rear wheel. He's trying to get it moving, but that's not going to go anywhere. Hopefully he'll return that back to the pits before anybody else comes around that corner and finds him there. Someone, Dave the Hart manages to get past, but yeah, that's one where Richie really just needs to hit the pause button. Oh, there you go, and guess who that is? That's Kev 187, and Richie has now got another wheel missing. He's probably sat there thinking, the car won't move. Yeah, you've only got 2 wheels on your bus. So hit your pause button and return back to the garage. Kev has got damage from that collision, so Kev will be returning back to the garage, I would guess. Richie has managed to return back to the pits now. Jason is currently just sat in the pits quite comfortable. Stringy B and I think GT5 King, they're just having a little bit of a on-track battle at the moment. I mean, the drivers can use the warm-up session as get their strategies ready, or just go and test the heavier fuel and so on. So anyway, Ray, what do you think they're going to do for strategies here?
How many laps is it?
It's a 26 lap race.
26 lap race. Could be 2 stops, but it depends. Could it be 2 stops? I'm trying to remember last week. How many stops did they do?
It was a one-stop race last week. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the tyres will probably last for a one-stop, but there is the possibility that if they did a two-stop... Oh, GT5 King! Oh, my goodness me! That must be the... well, I would think that that's the pit entry, but he seems to have gone the wrong way, if it's not the pit entry, and completely destroyed that motor.
Was it the fact that if you're on Richard Davies coming up the hill, I think it's after the chicane, the track turns to the left, but there is in a different way, there is a track that goes to the right. I think Richard Davies, no, he's not from that.
No, it's definitely not the pit entry they've been crashing into, but I do know what you mean. You come around one of the corners and there's two ways that the track can go. So by the looks of it, two of the drivers have kind of gone the wrong direction. Oh, Kev 187 comes out of the pits. Oh, there's a collision with Richie Davey. That's another wheel gone. And Kev 187 is involved in another... Oh no, it might not have been Kev. But Richie's lost another wheel. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But yeah.
Kev's still going. He's coming round the... What corner is this? See, because I've not got my track map up.
Oh, GT5 King, sorry, GT5 King's just lost another wheel. It looked like he had damage on his car, which has sort of pulled him off towards the side of the track. And we mentioned it, this track is a circuit that has, here we go, there's the right hand bit that the drivers are going the wrong way up. If they go up that way, they're going to end up destroying their car. Sorry, yeah, Ray, go on. Carry on, sorry for putting in there.
I know, Mulvey's left the session, but you can't invite on.
You can. You can?
No, I can't. I've tried it, press triangle, it's not there.
Okay, let me just have a quick look. You're right, once we're in the warm-up, you can't re-invite. Oh dear. So it's shame for Mulrine there then. Well, it looks like we could be in for an interesting, complete, absolute carnage of a race here. That was the camera angle there of where the road splits off into two. I've got a feeling we may see a few cars ended up in there.
26.3.
So Kev then showing right now, he's got the speed to have taken pole position here, had he been able to get his lap in. So starting from the back of the grid, he's going to have to keep it nice and clean so that he can work his way through the field. I mean, at the end of the day, all he's got to do is avoid any carnage that's going to kick off, and he'll make his way up to the front. And with 10 seconds to go, and just quickly mention that in the PCF, the Project Cars Leagues, both the Fridays and Sundays, we don't do any additional stewarding, additional penalties or anything like that. We just let the game deal with it, sort it, drivers get on with it. It may cause a few arguments between them, but there we go.
Mate, you need to focus on those lights and nail
we'll get
the
ready
start. Let's
for
stay
the
safe.
lights.
Let's see if we can take some of these guys off the grid.
I won't be overtaking any of the guys off the grid, but we'll wait for the green lights, and there we go. So we'll retire to the pit box and try and get on board with whoever we can as early as we can. So Neotig's lost the lead to Hesselden already, and it sounds like contact in the background. We've got somebody in the barrier. We've got somebody without wheels. It's Kev 187. Oh no, he's just going slow. Woolhouse, oh my goodness me. That must have been an absolutely enormous crash there, because Woolhouse, I don't think... it must have been an enormous crash. Kev's going slow. I wonder if there was a power boost penalty for Kev there, but we'll try and get back to the action as Hesselden pulls out a bit of a gap. He's taken the lead. Neo's in second, being followed by 4 or 5 cars, and the car's gone the wrong way already. I think that's Dave the Harp heading the wrong direction. Oh, and GT5 King, I think, may have been in the... I think GT5 may have been into the barrier. He was. So we've got Stringy B, Dave the Harp. Where is Dave the Harp? Oh, he is. He's trying to get himself back to the track. He's got a wheel missing, and Kev's just coming by him now. So that's a shame for Dave the Harp. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, let's get back to the action then. He's got, I mean, we did say there's the potential for big crashes around here, but Woolhouse, there was hardly anything left of his car. Well,
I never seen the crash because I was figuring out how to get out the
spectate, how to spectate.
Yeah, because I've got the pad and the wheel. When it jumps between the two, when you're in the car, it's the wheel it takes over, and then when you're spectating, the pad takes over.
Gotcha. Okay, so Hesselden's still leading. It is close between second and third, and then fourth and fifth. Oh, Richie off track a little bit there. You have to be careful because that'll want to throw him towards the barrier. But Hesselden pulling out a nice little lead here. He's going to have to keep pushing it. It looks like he's got his car set up to be quick. And then we've got Neotig and Grable. Oh, Neo's off. Oh, Grable had nowhere to go. He's giving him a little bit of a nudge. And now Grable's going the wrong way where Dave did. Oh, dearie me. Oh, so that's Grable now further down the grid. So is that Grable with a wheel gone as well, is it?
Yeah, when he turned round to hit the barrier.
Oh, no.
Get back to the pits, but he's trying to return to the pits instead of driving round.
Now, if the drivers do lose a front wheel in these Formula Bs, they can limp it back to the pits, as Dave the Harp is trying to do here on camera shot. But if they lose a rear wheel, their car will not move, and they won't be able to. I don't know if you want.
Getting close to Yarson.
He is. We've got them on screen at the moment. I don't know if you want to have a look, see where Kev is, see if he's closing the gap in at all. Richie's dropped off a little bit over those last couple of corners, so there's a chance here then for Jason to start closing in on Neotig in second place, and there's at least two wheels near the braking zone into turn one. So 2 laps in. Oh, we've got a car off. That's GT5 King. Oh dear, is it a front or a rear? It's a front. Oh, Kev's come round the corner. Oh, that's not what you want to see. Now, Riyadh, I know what you may be thinking here. Don't do it. Well done. It's annoying, I know, but in a minute, in about 10 minutes, you'll have Dave the Harp to race.
Richard Davies got a power boost because he cut the chicane.
Quite possibly.
Right there.
So we've got Grable limping back to the pits, Dave the Harp limping back to the pits. We've got Woolhouse out of the race. Stringy B's dropped quite far back. Now, there is 2 tyre compounds that the drivers can use here. There's no limitations to what compounds they can use. So they're free to use whatever tyres they like, but they will find benefits in speed and grip from one tyre to the other. Hesselden almost looks like he's struggling a little bit for grip at the moment, but Neotig in second with Jason in third and Richie looking like he may be closing up again. Well, so what do you make of the opening few... Sorry, Ray, what do you make of the opening few laps?
Quite interesting. All these tyres on the side of the track. The guys have got to watch for the guys that have no wheels. When they come flying round that corner, they could be right there, so they've got to have that awareness ready.
I mean, is turn one now? Oh, Richie Davies having a big tank slapper on a curb. He just manages to keep it going. He's got a power boost penalty and Kev's into the back of him. Kev's lost a front wheel. I think Richie's lost a rear wheel. Richie has lost a rear wheel and Kev's trying to get past him now but can't. Oh dear, oh dear. So that's going to be Richie Davey out of the race now, unless he can manage to actually get that back to the pits. Oh dear. This is just allowing the leaders to pull away, but it's going to give Dave the Harp and Grable some people to race against now. Has GT5 King made it back to the pits yet? No, he hasn't. Grable's still limping back to the pits. Has Dave the Harp made it back to the pits?
Stringy B needs to watch out. He's got Richard Davies hanging out in that corner.
I tell you what, I think Dave the Harp's out of the race, you know. I think the session is over for Dave the Harp. It is. So Dave hasn't made it to the end. Richie needs to get that car retired. He's not going to be able to get it back to the pits. Kev will be able to limp back. But that's just promoted Stringy B up to 4th place, as we now have Hesselden in first. Neo in second still. So Grable's into the pits now so he can get his wheel replaced. I mean, I saw Richie Davey having a huge tank slapper over the curbs. And Kev's come round the corner, and I think Richie then may have had a penalty, and Kev perhaps just caught out by the lack of Richie not going anywhere, and then the collision ensues. So unfortunate for the both of them there, but this is just allowing Hesselden now to completely run away on his first drive in the Formula Bs, showing what he can do as he laps Kev now. And it's going to get close soon between Neotig and Jason, and with Jason winning at Donington Park last week, it'll have given him the confidence that he can go and attack these guys. So second and third is definitely the battle to watch at the moment until the guys that need new wheels get them replaced. But I mean, you're limited to such a slow speed when you lose a front wheel that you are going to end up lap down at least. But there is always the possibility that any of the drivers could lose a wheel and you'll still have somebody to race against.
Richie hasn't given it up with that rear wheel gone. He's still trying to push.
Maybe he needs to get out and push it. So Kev still actually in 5th place at the moment. Richie Davies in 6th. So GT5 King still limping it round to the pits. Either that or he's been to the pits and come back again, but I don't think so. Grable now, easy about to go and takes 7th place. He does. So Grable, being one of the earlier guys to lose a wheel, now gains a place. So don't lose all hope yet, Grable, because you may still get past Kev. Richie Davey is now back into the pits, so Grable he should be able to possibly catch Kev now, although Kev's probably nearer the end of the lap than Grable is. Oh, Stringer B, I've just seen Stringer B's gone very wide, but he may have been avoiding Kev. But go on, Ray.
Richie Davey must have retired because he had a rear wheel and he was away to the pits, he couldn't get it near it.
Yep, he is now in the pits, that's what I mean. He must have retired.
It's okay.
So, did you think he'd lost another wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just takes so long to get the cars back to the pits when you have lost a wheel that it is easy. I mean, if we look at the timing screen now, I wouldn't be surprised if they're already a couple of laps down. I mean, we lost quite a few drivers now from this race. Kev is on lap 4 and the leader is on lap 6, so that's how painful it is when you lose a wheel. I mean, we don't know exactly what happened at the start with the collision with Woolhouse, but there we go. Neo, Tig and Jason are passing Kev, but Kev, I think, is now at the pit entry, so he'll be back on track soon. And as we know, he is fast, so whether he can pull anything back out of this one, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm wondering if Turn 1 is becoming a no overtake zone now with the amount of wheels that seem to be scattered across the racetrack there.
I care more as his car goes faster in pit lane than it does go round the track.
It must be so frustrating for the drivers when they have to limp all the way around the track with a wheel missing, and then when they get to the pit lane it speeds up. So, anyway, as we mentioned early on, there is no additional penalties applied by front row racing for the drivers in these races. But obviously, if we saw someone doing something absolutely ridiculously bad, like cutting a huge chunk of corners and nailing someone, then they wouldn't get an invite into the next race. But yeah, no additional penalties will be applied by ourselves onto the drivers. The game will cover most of those. And I mean, we mentioned it at the end of the FRRI Days event earlier, that it would be good if Codemasters had a track limit system similar to Project Cars, because it would make life so much easier for running leagues and things like that. But at the same time, as we've shown here with Richie Davey having his what looked like to be a power boost penalty, it ended up causing a collision. I think Neotig in second place, he's gone to the pits. I don't think he had damage. So 7 laps into the race and Neotig is into the pits. It could be for fuel. He may have fueled it light, or it could be for tyres. That's a very early pit stop for me. That's definitely onto a two stop. But having said that, Hesselden has also pitted. So Jason is currently leading the race.
And Jason's good on his tyres. So could he just wait till near the end, or?
I reckon Jason, well, as you say, he is good on his tyres, so he could potentially just look after his tyres and try and go long. Oh, got Hesselden going past. I think that was a green car with a wheel missing, or is it someone getting a blue flag out of the way? I think it may have been GT5 King getting out of the way. It made it look like for a moment there was a bit of a battle going on there. So Heselden has come out of the pits in second place still. Neotig's come out of the pits in third place. And he is right behind GT5 King. I've heard the sound of a car in the barriers. It's Jason! It's Jason! He's still got his wheels intact, but he's pulled off to the side of the circuit. He's going very, very slow. I wonder if he's got some serious damage there. It looks like it could be race over for Jason then. That's hugely disappointing. So that puts Heselden back into the lead. And Neo's not that far behind. Oh, Jason's on the move again. Or trying to be on the move again. Stringy B is in fourth place. And Grable now pushing. Currently sat in fifth place. Well, this is...
I don't see any visual damage.
He's not out of fuel, is he? Could Jason be out of fuel?
Could have suspension.
It could be suspension damage. It looks like he's perhaps trying to limp it back to the pits, maybe. If it's fuel and he can get back to the pits, then he may be able to refuel it, but he's got a couple of hills to try and get up, but that's now put Stringy B up into third place.
That front right tyre isn't making enough contact compared to the rest. You might have suspension.
It's difficult to tell.
Fine now, but when he was trying to start off, it wouldn't go.
Oh, well, definite issues either way there for Jason, though. That's put his chances of potentially winning the race out the window. Oh, Heselden! He's got damage on that car. It's wiggling all over the road. He's struggling to keep it on the track. I'm wondering if he's clipped a barrier somewhere. Oh, that's definite. Got suspension damage. He's going to end up finding himself having to head towards the pit lane. He's going to be giving Neotig the lead. That's if he can make it to the pit lane. Oh, he's got Grable right behind him. Grable's trying to unlap himself. If you just wait, Grable, he'll get out of the way. So Heselden pits twice in the space of about 3 laps with definite suspension damage. And here we go for Neotig, about to take the lead. Now, he would not have been expecting that one. Jason's still on the move. How's Kev? Oh, my goodness. Kev's lap time, a 1:24.2. So Kev's definitely on the pace at the moment. Let's have a look. He's 4 seconds faster than Neotig, who's the current leader. 5 seconds faster than Heselden. He's not. I don't know if they're on the same lap. Let's have a look. Yeah, Grable and Kev are on the same lap. So is Jason now. Those three being 2 laps behind the front 3. So if Kev is catching Grable, it will be for position, and he'll be catching him quick, being 4 seconds a lap faster than most people at the moment.
Stringy B's in the pits.
So Stringy B then could potentially drop down a place. We're getting close to that kind of potential pit stop window, having done 8 to 10 laps. You wondered whether it might be a 2-stop race. For some of them, it could be much more. I'll tell you what, the car ahead of Kev, I think, is actually Neotig. Or is it Neotig? I think it is Neotig. Excuse me, and then the car ahead of him, yeah. So Kev is catching the leader of the race, but it's to unlap himself. And then Grable is ahead of Neo. So Kev's, he's hit the wheel. He looks like he's got away with it, though. It looked like he hit one of the wheels in the braking zone, but Neo did the right kind of thing there in a way. Kev was catching him very, very fast. Neo's leading the race with a healthy lead at the moment, so just let Kev go. Let him pull away, let him get involved in his own race, and Neo can just focus on whoever is in second. So Grable now up to 4th place. So with Stringy B pitting, I wonder if he's had damage.
And Yasin, the first.
I think Yasin, yeah. Jason is now out of the race. So whatever his problem was, it turns out to be a terminal one by the looks of it, as Kev 187 really starts closing that gap on Grable here. This is where Grable could try fighting for the position here, or perhaps Make Kev work for it. No, he's led him through. Grable, that one was for position. I'd have let him through where it would cost you the least amount of time, and then try and follow him and see if you can keep up. Not easy to do, but see if you can work out where Kev is quicker and see if you can follow him. So Kev's got a couple of laps to make up to try and catch Stringy B, who's currently sat in third place. His lap times aren't the fastest, but it doesn't matter if you're going to end up being in third place. Heselden is in second place after repairing his damaged car, and Neotig goes round the first corner leading the race. Well, I don't think this one is over by a long shot. So come on, Ray, what's your predictions for the next 15 laps?
A little bit more damage.
I think you may be correct with that one. So let's see if it's GT5 King. GT5 is still in the race at the moment, sat in 6th place. Another quick look at the timing screen. Okay, so we've got Neotig in first on 12 laps, Heselden in second on 12 laps, Stringy B in third on 11 laps, Kev 187 on 10 laps in fourth. So Kev's got a lap to gain to make up to catch Stringy, and at 5 seconds a lap gain he may be able to do it. It could be close. And Grable in 5th on lap 10 and GT5 in 6th on lap 9. And Jason disqualified, it says there. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now, admittedly, looking at the mark on the pit lane floor, it almost looks like Buffy the Vampire Slayer has slaughtered him for being a vampire. But I doubt that one is true, but there we go. Okay, so he is. I've just jumped on board with him and he's in the pits. I'm kind of surprised about that one. But perhaps he feels... Oh, interesting. Maybe Neotig feels he's got the gap over Heselden, who had to make the additional stop. So Neo can perhaps fuel it to the end. I think GT5 is also heading into the pits. But Heselden, is he going to retake the lead? He does retake the lead. And whereas Neotig, he's in the pit lane somewhere. He's still sat in the pit lane getting that car refueled. Oh, Stringy B's had a bit of a moment on the exit of one of the corners. You've got to be careful of doing that, because if that car heads towards the barrier, you could easily lose it. Kev's now up to 4th because Grable has pitted. No, he got past Grable, didn't he? Yeah, Kev's up to 4th and trying to catch Stringy B. Let's have a look at the track map then. So as Stringy B crosses the start-finish line, the car behind him...
Kev is just coming round to the last corner.
He is, and Kev he's not that far away. He will catch Stringy B if there's no more dramas, and he's also recently done a 1:23.9, so Kev is definitely pushing hard. I definitely don't think that this race is far from over yet. I mean, we've seen in the first first 12 laps that any of the drivers could easily end up in the barrier missing a wheel. So we know that for the remaining 14 laps, that could still happen. But Heselden has a fairly healthy lead over Neotig at the moment, both having made 2 pit stops. I'm wondering if Neotig has fueled it to the end and put the tyres on that will let him get to the end. If not, I'd be surprised as to why he did the pit stop. Oh, we've got someone off. Stringy B.
Lost a wheel.
Is it a wheel gone, is it?
Yeah, front left.
Oh dear, so Stringy B now is on to slow motion mode. He's going to have to try and get it back to the pits, although it looks like he's able to take that back towards the pits faster than any of the other drivers have. Let's see. Oh, that's a horrible bit of a camera view there. So GT5 King still in 6th place, and he's got a car right up his trumpet. Stringy B has retired from the session by the looks of it, so he didn't try taking it back to the pit lane, so that moves GT5 King up. Go on, Ray, you was going to say something? He's into 3rd place and he's also in the pits. He's into 3rd place because Stringy B lost the wheel and is now out of the race. So Kev then pits for what I would like to think is his final stop of the race. Now Grable is in 4th place, and I think Kev will stay in 3rd. By the looks of it, I think Grable has made a stop recently as well, because he's quite far behind Kev at the moment. He did. He pitted at the same time as Neotig. So the remaining cars now quite spread out over the grid, which is a bit of a shame to see. I mean, the drivers are definitely struggling in keeping these Formula Bs away from the barriers, away from other cars, and keeping all 4 wheels on their bus, because so far throughout this season with the Formula Bs, pretty much the deciding factor has been keeping all 4 wheels on the car. So I know I had a word with Kev the other day about, okay, start thinking about what car you want to move into for the next 10 races after this season finishes. We do 10 race seasons. So what car will change into? And I've got a feeling it'll be a car that has got covered wheels. What do you think?
Yeah, one that can take a battering.
one that can take a little bit of contact. I mean, cars I'd like to see is perhaps LMP1s or LMP2s, because they're quick, they're really quick, and they can take a little bit of contact. You have a little nudge with a barrier, you're probably not going to lose a wheel. Oh, I've just heard that dreaded noise. Somebody is in the wall somewhere. Have we got a car with a wheel missing anywhere?
No.
It doesn't look like it. I definitely heard the sound of car versus metal. Hesselden is into the pits. I wonder if he perhaps just had a little bit of contact with the barrier, which has forced him into making another stop to repair any damage. Neotig's coming around the final corner now and is about to retake the lead. So it's all swapping up at the front here. It's quite a difficult one to keep up with this. So the question now would be, Kev, he's still 2 laps down. He's going to really need to push it hard if he's going to have any chance of battling the 2 up the front, but I don't think he's got a chance with them having a 2-lap stint, unless both of them lose a wheel. And at the end, that could happen.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the map and there's a yellow flag sitting up in sector 2, just
there.
before the... I think it's it's sitting on the track.
Sorry, I was just skipping through the cars and we heard the sound of car v barrier again. I don't know if it was Hesselden. It almost looks like his car's twitching a little bit, and perhaps not. Someone really gave the wall a good Glasgow kiss there.
You stay on Hesselden. Watch after this corner coming up on the exit. Is it Hesselden? No, it's not Hesselden.
Yep, Hesselden is... no, he's got another corner to go before he approaches what looks like to be a yellow flag zone. So he comes round this left-hander.
Not this one, the next left-hander, watch for the tyre. I think it's on the exit. No, where is it? There's a tyre on the exit of a corner. But I thought that's what the yellow flag would have been for.
Possibly. I can't say I've really focused on the markings on the track maps before, but we can see that there is 3 wheels on the track heading down to turn 1. Well, I mean, okay, we've lost a fair few drivers from this race now, and I think all of them will be begging for a car that could take a bit of a hit for the next season. I mean, I didn't pick the... well, I say I didn't pick the cars. The instructions I gave, because Kev's the host of the PCF league, we're just here to record and commentate. And the only real sort of parameters of picking the car was, do us a favour, don't pick the Formula A's. A couple of reasons for that is, one, we're running an F1 league on F1 2015, so there isn't really much point in running essentially an F1 league on project cars as well at the moment. And also because the Formula A's can be very, very tricky to drive. So you'll have people that would want to join and will end up perhaps spinning out a lot, crashing out a lot, finding it very difficult. and therefore perhaps not wanting to race again. So we've gone for the Formula Bs, but it turns out that these are quite tricky to drive. So yeah, I think the next lot of cars will definitely be ones that can take a bit of a hit, because as you know, Ray, in the Ginetta Juniors, they can take a bit of contact.
Yeah, especially with that one in what track was it? Was it Yarson went into somebody's side on?
Yes, I think they did. Yeah, it was a really big... Someone spun at a corner, came round the corner, give them a really good whack, but was that they were both able to continue on, so they were all right there. And that I mean, that's obviously the big difference. But then you got Grable at the last race, who was involved. Well, I say involved. He was the innocent victim in an enormous crash, which pretty much completely destroyed his car. But that was the kind of crash where you've got a car doing, oh, Kev's in the barrier. That must be where I've been hearing the noise. Cars just getting up close and personal to that barrier, perhaps getting away without any damage, but really giving it a bit of a kiss. Sorry, yeah, Grable in the PCS league. Oh no, Kev spun, he's into the barrier. Oh, maybe he did get a little bit of damage from that earlier bit of contact. Manages to survive with all wheels still on the car though, but that'll be a bit of a heart-stopping moment.
If you watched this corner, the exit of this corner, there's a wheel sitting.
Kev's struggling, he's had to slow down. I think he may have got a power boost penalty there, but there's definite damage on that car now. Definite damage, because GT5 King, who let him past a few corners ago, is now coming back past him. And I was going to mention that Kev was on the pace, because he's got his lap times down to a 1:22.9, but now he's going to lose some more time taking that car back to the pits. Just don't lose one of those rear wheels, Kev. Get it round this last corner and into that pit lane. Okay, Neotig and Hesselden. Alright, okay. It might not be the last corner, but get it to the last corner. Okay, trying to have a look at where Hesselden and Neotig are. Okay, there is a fair gap between Neotig and Hesselden. Hesselden had to make an additional stop for damage, we believe, so Neotig just needs to try and keep it nice and clean at the moment. Keep it on the road, make that car get all the way to the end with no dramas, and he can take victory here. Any kind of issue and Hesselden will be all over him, and Hesselden will be pushing to try and close that gap. Kev 187 reaches the pits for a few minor repairs, and Grable lost the wheel early on, but now sitting in 4th place, and GT5 King in 5th. And then we have lost, well, I say lost, we've had Woolhouse crashes out. Oh, Neo's into the pits, so race leader into the pits then, so the lead is going to change again. Yeah, we had Woolhouse heading down towards turn 1, ends up with his literally nothing left of his car, so he was out of the race. Who else have we got? Richie Davey, Jason, both with what looked like, well, Richie Davey had no rear wheel, so that was him out of the race. Jason out of the race. I'm trying to think who else there was now. Mulrine out of the race.
Richard Davies gone, Yarson, Dave the Hart.
Dave the Hart.
House.
Yep. So there has been quite a few drivers fall off the wayside in this event. And that is exactly why we say we think they'll be asking for cars that could take a little bit of contact. So, can Neotig then do anything about the leader? Go on. Yep.
I've been watching Hesselton, he's quite twitchy more than usual. So is he driving with damage?
Quite possibly. The thing is, if he's got a little bit of damage but it's drivable, he's probably going to want to keep going now that he's got the lead back again. If he's got to make another pit stop, he's effectively giving the lead back to Neotig. But if he has got damage and Neotig can catch him, oh, it's a tricky one. Because Neo is not that far behind. He's only one small straight behind at the moment. He'll have fresher tyres. Ooh, could be close in these final 7 laps. if Neotig is able to close the gap.
I've got a question from one of the viewers. Driver Montana was just wondering why just stream on YouTube and not Twitch too.
Okay, a few reasons. We were before the season started, we did do live streaming on Twitch, and before we sort of started live streaming on YouTube. And the reason we do the live streaming on YouTube now is because it is, even though it's under a beta test, it is of a better quality. On Twitch, you can end up with your stream corrupted, basically, and it's really frustrating.
I've kind of lost a wheel, sorry, jump in there, he's lost a rear wheel.
He has. That'll be race over for GT5 King at exactly the same place that Richie Davey lost his. So GT5 King's going to have to realise fairly quick that he's going to need to pretty much retire that car, because there's a car coming round the first corner heading towards him now. I'm not sure who it is, but oh, there we go. GT5 King is now back into the pits. So that's a shame for him, but that is race over.
Oh, Heselton's split.
Oh, he has. And here comes Neotig. So Neotig really takes the lead, and I think Heselton has actually taken it into the pit lane. He has. Oh, so
Kev's not that far behind, but the pit lap he's on.
Let's have a look. Kev is sadly still 2 laps down on the leaders, but oh, I mean, I think Kev will be feeling from this one that he should have won this race, but to be fair, he'll mainly want to beat Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp's not in the race anymore. Okay, Heselton is on the move again, so Neotig out in the lead, and Heselton in second, Kev in third, and Greybull now in fourth, and GT5 King race is over in fifth place. So this is one of the downsides to the Formula Bs, that they are very, very fragile. Right, I'm just going to have to nip off mic for a second, so if you want to waffle on, we're currently on board with Neotig.
Oh, Neotig, okay, I'll just watch Neotig round this lap. I'll finish off Dave's answer to the Driver Montana's question is, on Twitch, when we went over a certain amount of time, we're getting errors or corrupted videos, and then we couldn't produce the videos because you've got to export them to YouTube as well. So we weren't getting videos for our league races, so as soon as YouTube came out, we went to YouTube, and that way you've got the videos when you record them, depending on the person recording footage. The video's mostly quite good, and then all you have to do is set it to private and it uploads all in the same place, where with Twitch you had to change it to export, and then that would take extra time. So it's a quicker way and an easier way as a league. And we used YouTube for I don't know how many years, because I've only been in for 2 years. So, yeah, here Dave's back. You'll be able to finish it off.
Well, coming halfway on the conversation, but I think I know what you're on about there. You're right. I mean, Front Row Racing have used YouTube for the last few years. I mean, we've been going for quite a few years now. Probably some of the 3 or 4 years, and. Yeah, I mean, basically we're recording races, putting them on YouTube, and then obviously with the PS4s you're able to use Twitch direct from the PS4, so we were using that. But yeah, as Ray said, you had to export it over to YouTube, and there was quite a few occasions where Twitch would corrupt, because the way Twitch works is it records in 30-minute sections. So if you have one moment, let's say 1 minute of a weak connection, the missus goes on the iPad to check out shoes, or to work out, like, to Google how to stop my boyfriend playing with his wheel. Yeah, for a split second it would corrupt 30 minutes worth of footage. So for a league, it's much easier to broadcast straight onto YouTube, and then it's done there on YouTube, nice and simple. The only thing I don't really like about it is that, for example, this broadcast we're doing now, when the broadcast ends, there'll be a number of like an amount of viewers that have watched the stream. If we were to edit the video, for example, add on an intro, add on an outro, and put that onto YouTube, and this is all like done on YouTube, we put it onto YouTube, it comes on as a new video, and it doesn't show the stats of all of the previous viewers on the original video. So I know at the start of our seasons we did have intros and outros, but I'm looking at it now with not adding those on so that people can see how many views we're getting in total. It's one of the reasons as well why on my own F1 videos, my intros or outros on those, because it'll show you've got like 60-70 original views, you add the intros on, and then it starts off with the views on 0 again, so a little bit deceptive. But Neotig, 2 laps to go, heads around the first corner. Hesselden is on track somewhere, if the camera will pick him up. There we go. Now, in addition to obviously what the question was about and what Ray was talking about there, this season in front row racing we have tried to do it where we've got 2 commentators. What we used to do was have 1 commentator and 1 steward. So the steward would be there recording stuff just to look at, like people cutting corners, crashes, pit entries, stuff like that. Oh, Hesselden is into the barrier, he's lost the rear wheel. You're not going anywhere, fella, your race is over with 2 laps to go. Kev's and he knows it
because he hit the barrier.
Kev's in the pits, but what he's about to see is that Hesselden's car is sat there in the pit lane, and Kev may actually be able to take second place. He's going to have to do the additional laps to do it, because he is still 2 laps down. But wow.
Well, it depends where Grable is, sorry. I keep getting these.
Mikhail Grablewski, I think it is, or something like that, Grablewski. I'm not very good with pronunciation. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Grable could come and steal 3rd place off Kev, but Kev's already on the move. Kev's already around turn 1, heading out of the pits. So, unless Neotig goes and balls it up on this final lap, he's on for the win. So I'll quickly try and add on what I was going to say, if I can remember. So this season, what we decided to do is, because of the recording capabilities of the PlayStation 4, in our F1 league, it was like, right, okay, what we'll do is the stewards don't have to be in the lobbies anymore. So what we can do instead, we can have two commentators, and the stewards can watch the footage, the additional footage, because drivers can record, we can record. So it works much better in that respect. It's not that we don't like, although if you're in Germany, you can struggle to watch live streams from them. Yeah, it's one of the things Killer Corkin was on about when we moved on to doing live streams on YouTube. It's a bit of a shame, but you do get better. I think I don't know if Neo's just lagging or struggling, but no, it's lag by the looks of it. So hopefully both just smashed the barrier. I've just realised as well I have left my phone on my internet. So Kev is up to second then. So as Neotig is about to cross, absolutely delighted with that result there, and fair play to him. A lot of pit stops, but takes the full points of 25. Grable is in second place. Oh no, sorry, that's because Neotig has crossed the line and Grable's a few laps down. It gets confusing, does Project Cars, with that towards the end. We'll have to wait until the drivers do complete all of the laps that they are required to complete, unless Grable is actually...
He's on the same lap as Kev.
It does say he's on the same lap as Kev.
But he's behind. He's at the time, I think, came in behind Kev. Oh, I don't know. No, Kev is in second place. It's the confusing thing of, because Neotig is 2 laps ahead, and Grable crossed the line behind Neotig. Yeah, it classes Grable as second place at the moment, but Grable's still got a couple of laps to do, as Kev has as well.
So see now Kev does now say is in second place, Grable is in third place, so Kev's got mightily lucky when it comes to the points in this one, as long as he can get it to the end of the race. I mean now usually
Heselden and GT5 kind of doing, they're staying in a pit so they get classified as 4th and 5th place.
They won't get the points.
Oh, because they never finished it.
No, they haven't finished the race. So, I mean, if you lose your rear wheel, it doesn't matter what you do, you're out of the race. When it comes to being classified for the race, essentially, you've got to cross the finish line. So, if you're not crossing the finish line, you're not going to get classified in the result, so to speak. That may seem a bit harsh, but...
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. If a driver, let's say, for example, a driver crashes on lap 1, loses a front wheel, goes round to the pits, sits in the pits for 25 laps, and then goes and does one lap at the end, should they be classified to get the points? Some might question that one. But unfortunately, if you've had a crash, at least this is the way I'd see it, if you've had a crash, you've lost your rear wheel, you've had to retire back to the pits, you've not finished the race. And Kev 187 crosses the line. I think that would be for his final lap. Yes, I think it is, unless he's just starting lap 26 now. But there we go. So, interestingly, Grable is in the pits. Well, a disappointing amount of finishers at the end of the race, but Neotic will be absolutely delighted with taking the victory. Quite a few people losing their wheels, but there we go. So, I mean, only 3 drivers by the looks of it able to actually cross the line at the end. That's a huge amount of a destruction rate throughout the race. And for those drivers that have made it to the end, very well done. For those that ended up doing quite a lot of pit stops, very, very difficult for them. And also a shame for us, because as viewers it means that we don't get to see all of the on-track action that we would like. I mean, if you do lose a front wheel, yeah, it's frustrating, but if you can limp it back to the pits and keep going, you never know who else is going to lose a front wheel.
Because it's not over till you cross that line.
That is very, very true. So Kev then into the pits to complete the end of the session. I think there'll be a few of the drivers. I mean, look at how damaged that car is. That bodywork, I don't think that's just going to polish up. That needs reforming. So Neotic takes victory. Kev's probably sat there wondering how the hell he managed to take second place in that race. And Grable taking third. It says GT5 Kings in fourth, but we did see him lose a rear wheel earlier on. And then there's me and you, Ray.
We're in the points.
We're in the points with no damage on our cars. But there we go. Okay, so we'll bring things to an end then. That'll be interesting. Actually, let's have a quick look before we do bring things to an end. Let's have a quick look at the standings. Because Neotic's leading the championship anyway. 25 points for a win. That's going to put him up onto 89 points. It's a good point score, that is. Grable gets 16 points, so he'll be on 76. Kev's going to get 20 points, so he'll be on 71. So Neotic's gone and bought himself one hell of a lead on the Project Cars Friday standings. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the next event, which will be at Zolder. I haven't worked out how many laps it'll be around there just yet, but it will be at Zolder next Friday. And then for Front Row Racing, we will be live again on Sunday evening from about 8:30 for the Front Row Racing PCS League Project Cars Sunday, which will be where Ray's going to try and beat Dave the Harp. 25 laps.
Stepperton. Yep.
Yep, it'll be 25 laps at Snetterton. It's all right. Yeah, it's 25 laps at the Snetterton 200 circuit, where, as I said, Ray will be trying to go and beat Dave the Heart. It'll be an interesting race, that one, I think. So let's bring things to an end here. Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary booth, Ray.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for your helping out on broadcasts and that.
No problem. And well done to those drivers, and thank you to everyone that's been watching. If you are interested in joining our Project Cars Leagues, feel free to look up the Front Row Racing Facebook page. That's where we do pretty much all of our business. Send us a message. If there is space, we may try and accommodate it, but it would take 4 drivers to essentially drop out first, because the Project Car Sunday one, I believe, is very full at the moment, and we're not doing any reserve drivers for those. But there we go, that's it. That's all from Front Row Racing for this evening. So we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.